Warning, this game starts with this warning about seizure risk. If this warning applies to you, then you should not watch this review because it shows the gameplay. Demon's Tilt is a flashy 2D pinball game which came out in 2019. It's a simple setup with one board. The goal is simply for a player to try to get as high a scores as possible. There's no victory condition. A game will last as long as the player still has lives. The gameplay. Modes. There are 3 modes to choose from: Normal, X mode, and Hardcore. Each mode changes the color of the paddles and the difficulty level. Normal mode is the easiest because its bottom side ramps are easier to avoid. X mode and Hardcore mode's ramps are steeper and much harder to avoid falling down. X mode has bonus mini-maps which can be triggered. These mini-maps give points and multiplier bonuses. If a ball falls to its doom on a mini-map, then that doesn't affect the 3 total lives given for the game. The player is simply teleported back to the main board. Hardcore mode is the hardest because the player only has 1 life instead of 3. Once a player's lives, be they 3 or 1 depending on mode, are gone, then it's game over. However, dying too quickly on any mode will simply relaunch the current ball and provide some points. The grace period is 30 seconds, and when it's on, there's a light underneath the bottom flippers. Controls. By default, the left and right shift keys control the left and right flippers. The AWSD keys control which direction the ball tilts. These can be remapped to different keys. Controller support is also included. The box in the lower right corner, with a skull on the chain, shows the danger zone for tilting. The screen will also show a red border if the player is almost dead from tilting. As with old school physical pinball machines, tilting too much at once is a bad idea. That said, tilting often is the key to surviving for long in this game. Skill challenges. During play, there are 3 words to the right. They're listed top to bottom: Zodiac, Arcane, and Hermit. These 3 words are formed letter by completing their respective skill challenges on each section of the board. Completing them is just a good way to boost the total score. However, these spelling challenges are awkwardly presented. To start a skill challenge, the board clearly shows the word start along with an arrow. This is true for each tier, yet afterward, signs of where to go aren't given. Instead, vague terminology is often used. For example, one challenge tells a player to spin Pachi balls. Other instructions are even vaguer. For example, another challenge only says to access a secret passage. I wondered where this passage could be and assumed it might be difficult to find. Then I noticed it was just a common path that I'd already taken several times. Dangers. As certain objects are hit, danger is added. Pink, glowing orbs and crystals come out of both the monsters and set pieces. These will slow down the ball if hit, redirect it, and also provide some points. The Hermit is also a threat. It will change into various monsters, and its later forms pose additional challenges. When a game is over, then the efficiency and score for each ball is shown, their total score is shown, and the player gets a number ranking plus achievement title. The player can also see a list of local best scores, and the leaderboard shows global scores. If you're playing it through Epic Games, then it will show your Epic Games username. I don't know about other platforms. I didn't see a way to put in a different name though. This also means that if multiple people are playing on the same account in one household, well, unfortunately you're not going to have an easy way to differentiate your scores. The global scores are difficult to beat. It's not easy to get over 1 billion points. The leaderboard post-game seemed to glitch though, as it showed the same score for everyone globally, which is obviously inaccurate. There are other special leaderboard lists which clearly show that on the main menu. I thought that the gameplay was challenging and somewhat fun, however, it is very simple. Focusing on the multiplier number is how to get the highest score possible. Because of that mechanic, I think that it would have had greater replay value if it offered additional layouts to play on. I also noticed that some moments seemed off during play. Sometimes a skill challenge said to hit kickers on the top tier a certain number of times, but then it didn't count hits. Other times, the challenges worked just fine, and rarely the ball didn't seem to tilt right. It would sometimes tilt twice in a row when I only hit the key to tilt once, or it didn't tilt at all when I hit the key. Because those obvious glitchy moments happened in a fast-paced game, I'm led to wonder about subtle glitches too. After all, during high-speed moments and wild ricochets, I'm not going to notice slight glitches in tilting trajectories or speed. Concern about that does bother me. After all, in a game like this, the point is to hit targets. If the target hits sometimes aren't being recorded, then I'm going to wonder if it's accurately reflecting what I'm throwing at the targets too. Since there's reasonable skepticism there, I don't feel that it's the challenge it should be. the look and the sound. It has decent graphics, but its flashiness can be over the top. It's no wonder that this game starts with a warning about a seizure risk for photosensitive people. I also found the way that multi-ball events were handled to be disappointing. In the past, I used to play on actual old-school pinball machines when I could. Since I could see the entire table at once, that made multi-ball events a fun sort of chaos. I was hoping for the same sort of feeling to be captured here in its digital offspring, but the setup of this one lacked that. In Demon's Tilt, by default, the camera follows the single ball in play. That's a great help to maintain focus, and so I didn't turn it off. I liked it. But during a multi-ball event, the camera switches to following the ball closest to the bottom of the screen. This means that the others in play can no longer be seen. The player basically becomes trapped on tier 1 until the extras are gone because they're likely to plummet since they're unwatched. And as long as one ball is below, so is the player. Meanwhile, being unable to see what's up also means that much of the fun is lost. Sure, it's still chaos up there, but unseen isn't entertaining. The fix for this is to tweak the camera's setting for multi-ball events. There's a slider to do this, and it will show the whole board. However, if that's used, then the board becomes smaller due to zooming out. Too small, in my opinion. I dislike that more. I tried playing around with the slider, but wasn't ever satisfied with it. So while I didn't like either option, I just settled for the first. As for its sound, it's simple, cheesy, but pleasant. It reminded me of old school video game and anime battles. It fits the game really well and sets an energetic mood. Meanwhile, its lively sound effects add to the sense of a battle going on, and the priestess serves as an echoing, frequent announcer. All of that blends together quite well. I think its soundscape is one of the better aspects of the game. It's very on point for pinball. Time and cost. It's normally $20. I think that's way too much for a single, relatively simple pinball setup. On sale, it's $6, and I think that's more reasonable, but still a little high, market value-wise, for what it is. Final thoughts. It's an interesting spin or tilt on pinball. It requires skill and fast reflexes to get a score in the billions. Yet, when things like skill challenges aren't being accurately recorded, then I think that's a real problem in a skill-focused game. I liked it well enough, but I just can't overlook that. That just didn't seem okay to me. It soured my impression of it. Plus, when there are 292 other options on Steam, and probably more elsewhere, and this game only has one layout to play on, and when you add in those glitches, altogether, I think that's a lower than average experience in a rather competitive genre. It would be higher if I rated the sound, but I'm only going to rate it on gameplay since I don't think its soundscape changes much. Realistically, with this game, a player could put their own energetic music on to get into a flow state and have a similar experience.